our cause, I think, just cause. And then my sort of main sort of concern is we have, let's say, our own language, our own script. In Tibetan script, in Tibetan language, I think many Nalanda scholars, masters writing, you see, translated into Tibetan. So we have over 300 volumes which translated from India, mainly Sanskrit, then also Pali, and to some extent, I think, Nepalese. From translation from Chinese, perhaps I think 15 volumes, 15, 20 volumes. The rest, all is translated from Sanskrit and Pali. So now, as a result of meeting with many Buddhists, including many Chinese Buddhists and Japanese, or Korea and Vietnamese and Thai, or Burma, Sri Lanka, Laos, Cambodia, it became clear that a Tibetan translation not only is a big number, but also is quite precise. Some scholar who knows both Tibetan and Sanskrit, when they find some difficulties to understand the meaning of the Sanskrit, origin Sanskrit, they usually refer Tibetan, because Tibetan translations are very, very precise. So now today, I think the best language to describe fully about a Nalanda tradition is Tibetan language. It's the only language. Although Buddhism, Nalanda tradition, reached China, I think at least 2-3 centuries earlier. But like Madhyamaka philosophy, and then also, especially Buddhist epistemology. Epistemology is available only in Tibetan language. So therefore, the preservation of Tibetan Buddhist knowledge, and with that, Tibetan culture, culture of peace, culture of non-violence, and ultimately culture of compassion. That kind of thing, really worthwhile to preserve. And not only you see the 6 million Tibetans' interest, but now China, about 400 million Buddhists. So many of these Chinese Buddhists really showing interest about Tibetan Buddhism. So therefore, really worthwhile. And now China, look, the huge gap reaching the poor, and the moral ethics very, very low. So immense corruptions, like that. So many Chinese really hoping Buddhist sort of teaching can help to develop, to further
to
restore these human values and moral values. Even President Xi Jinping, his recent visit in Europe, in Paris, he publicly expressed that in Chinese culture, Buddhism have very important role. So regarding promotion of Chinese culture, Buddhists should have some sort of serious responsibility. And he similarly expressed in New Delhi also. So that, I think, his approach, his thinking, seems very realistic. So it is quite unusual. A communist leader expressing importance of Buddhism is something quite new, isn't it? Like that. So preservation of Tibetan Buddhist knowledge and Buddhist culture is something I think really worthwhile and very important. So the problem, hardliner of Chinese communists, their main concern is stability and unity. So they consider unique Tibetan culture, including Tibetan language, they feel a source of threat, of separation. So that is due to their fear and narrow-mindedness. I always telling or expressing when I meet some Chinese, look, India, East India, South India, West India, North India, different language, different script, but no danger of separation. You see, if concerned people, have satisfaction, then these different languages, different sort of culture will not be source of separation. And Kashmir is something different because of Pakistan and some political reason. So overall, India, I think, very, very stable. Some South Indian, they much more prefer their own language. Northern Indian, they say Hindi is more prominent. South Indian, for example, Tamil Nadu, they say Tamil language is much more advanced, like that. That's okay. But so long, you see, they really remain Indian Union, like that. So is China, no problem. Keep different people, different culture, different language. That gives them satisfaction. Recently, I met one Chinese who visited Tibet. He told me material development, including new buildings or these, much developed. But Tibetan loves their own culture, their own the Buddhist tradition. So some restriction on that, so that really brings much sort of
feeling of hurt. Feeling of hurt.
Feeling of hurt. One Chinese who visited Tibet, he told me like that. So therefore, so please, whenever you have opportunity meeting with Chinese brothers, sisters, some scholars, some businessmen or women, and then some students, please tell them what is the sort of reality of Tibetan, including Kasachuti,
their culture,
language. Then environment. One Chinese environmentalist, ecologist, he wrote one article. One Irish ecologist brought that article to me. That article mentioned the Chinese, the ecologist, as a result of his study, he found effect from Tibetan Plato, the effect to global warming as much as South Pole, North Pole. So he described Tibetan Plateau is third pole. And then obviously, many Indian scholars say the major rivers which cover from China up to Pakistan come from Tibetan Plateau. So in these rivers, I think over 1 billion human beings' life depend on these rivers. So preserve ecology and not sort of exploit the river as a natural resources. Sometimes you see, there is some sort of talking, the major rivers which go south,
maybe redirected
to North Gobi Desert. These, I think, some concerned sort of nations, I think, and especially scientists, discuss, research, then make a decision. Otherwise, these are like because of the Three Gorges.
The Three Gorges Dam.
Some scientists, some Chinese scientists, they really have great reservation. So therefore, you see these things. So please, so therefore, ecologically, you see, so very, very sort of
important.
Careful sort of
conservation.
Conservation is something very, very important. So please tell these things. Then best thing, I often is telling, visit to Tibet. It may be a little bit expensive, so that, you see, you can do something. You borrow some money from your friend. Then, when you reach Tibet, you can buy some antiques. Antique. Then, after you return, you can sell little higher price. So that's very important. Go there, visit. And the Chinese officials always say, oh, Tibet, wonderful, highly developed. They really liberated. So tell them, please, now you mentioned, you see, highly developed, highly sort of satisfied Tibetan. And then let us see, let us go there. So you should go there and see. Then what you saw there, and then telling people what's the reality. If things are very, very good, then nobody complain. We, handful refugee community, our real boss, I always mentioning, real sort of boss inside Tibet. I mean, those Tibetans who are inside Tibet. Refugee population around 150 or 60,000. Inside Tibet, about 6 million. So there is the real our boss. So if boss feel okay, then we have nothing to complain.